Hiya, welcome to Table Talk Friday, your weekly dose of D&D banter between three men in a bedroom. If you like their style, please give them a follow on whichever podcast service you prefer, and come back every Friday for another upload. Now, I'll send it over to them.
All right, Drew, are you familiar with the Avatar movies? Did we talk about this?
No. Are you talking about the blue people one or the dude with arrow?
No, the blue people one.
I saw the first one many minutes ago, and I can't tell you what it's about. Not even the slightest. Besides blue
Really?
people. Couldn't tell you a single thing, except they look kind of like Smurfs. That's it.
Okay, so then I've got some things I want to bring up about this. Because we talked about being isekai'd into another world last week. This is the New Year's episode, so we're in 2026 now, and I would like to enter into a new world. And that world is called Pandora. Freaking Avatar, amazing. Such a good franchise, especially like a little spectacle for the eyes. Go to the movie theater to see something. The new one came out this past weekend, Fire and Ash. Well, for what I saw it, not this past weekend, New Year's. So yeah, the new one came out recently, and it was really, really good, just like the other two. So I'm not going to delve into the history of this franchise or anything, but these movies are awesome, and if I could be isekai'd into it, or like, you know, play in a world like this, it's the one that I think, and that's my new answer from last week's podcast, is that if I could go into a world, I think Pandora is the one I should live in.
Okay. So I'm, like I said, I'm not familiar with the movie super well. I think if I were to watch it again, it'd be like watching a brand new movie at this point. But I thought it was pretty dangerous. I mean, I've seen the trailers. There's some people shooting at each other, and I mean,
but now I'll play this here. The whole planet, you know how like there's the kind of the belief of nature and Gaia on Earth or whatever, you know, you've got your hippies who, you know, smoke drugs and hang out and think about Gaia and returning to the planet. Well, imagine if that was real, because on Pandora, Awa is a real goddess who like lives within the planet's like life essence or whatever, and you can connect to it, and when you die, you return to the planet. You live eternally inside that planet.
Oh, so heaven's like below instead of up above, kinda.
Yeah, you live within like the life stream within Awa. So like, you know, even if it is dangerous and you're still one with nature, you return to the planet. That's great.
I dig it. My issue with the movies is they don't seem to be doing anything to differentiate themselves from Avatar: The Last Airbender, including calling one of their movies about fire, which is like, okay, as Avatar, the elemental one, yeah, okay.
You know, the second one was Way of Water.
You see what I'm saying? They're purposely trying to tie themselves with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just like, is it a book? Is that the problem? Was it previously books that it was already called? I
don't think so. I think this is James Cameron's like original film franchise. I don't think they need to differentiate themselves. Personally, I think Avatar, the Blue People franchise, makes a lot more money than Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I agree. You know, it was confusing in 2009 when the first movie came out. It's confusing now.
And they're purposely okay. So the next one, I'm gonna call it now. It's gonna be called Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, right? And
Mother of Earth.
3. Which one is it? And the last one's gonna be like Way of the Wind or something. And you're not gonna know anything.
Yeah, you know, I've seen all three of them recently too. Like I had seen the first one when I was a kid, but like not really paid that much attention to it because it was a long movie. And then I watched it again recently with my wife, and then I watched the second one for the first time recently, and now have seen the third one, and they're just fun movies. If you can go, like, now it's 3.5 hours of theater time, but you know, you think about this as well, where
3.5?
It's 3.5 hours, yeah. But think about this: you're paying the same amount as if you went and saw an 1.5 hour movie. So you're getting a lot more out of it here. You get a 3.5 hour experience. Now, we went to my favorite theater called Flick's Brewhouse. Everyone who's listening, look up if there's one in your area and go to it, because this is my favorite theater. And it's a brewery as well as a movie theater. So you can order like beers that they make there. Like they have those big freaking, I don't know what they are, like distilling thingies.
Like the giant kegs with the
yeah, like a giant one of those type deals. So they make all their beers there, and you can order food, and the food is really good, and you get bottomless popcorn for $9. So I had 2 whole things of popcorn, and we had some spinach artichoke dip with naan.
I've never filled up on popcorn. I'm just thinking bottomless popcorn. How much popcorn could I eat? Probably a lot.
So I had like a giant like stainless steel bowl like this size of it.
Did you eat the whole thing?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Did you refill it?
yeah, we split two of them. So I ate like
Like a bowl piece.
yeah, I
Okay.
ate like a whole bowl myself.
I don't know. I don't think anyone has ever in the history of the world filled up on popcorn. I mean, have you ever eaten popcorn and go like, oh, I'm so full, it could possibly have another
So
bite?
I
No.
think before I hit that point, it's like oh, the butter is so rich and hitting my stomach and I feel a little sick. You know?
I don't think I've ever had that much popcorn. I just
Really?
ate a little bit during the movie and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. You know?
No, yesterday we got up, I had breakfast and stuff, worked out, and ran, and then right from there, I had a little snack for lunch, and then we went and played Magic for a few hours, and then went to the movie right after that. And so with all of those things, I had like no food. I had like maybe 1,000 calories, and I'd burned like 3,000 yesterday total.
Mhm.
And so I'm sitting in this movie and like I'm starving. And so I ate tons of popcorn. I had a beer, and we had the spinach artichoke dip stuff. And afterwards, I was like, I'm just sleepy. Now I just want to go to bed.
Got the oil and the vegetable categories covered. Good to go.
And my favorite quote from the movie, this is not a spoiler whatsoever. It's not the size of the dog. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the fight in the dog.
Also a Five Finger Death Punch lyric.
Is it?
Love that. Yep. My
It's so silly.
wife Eric's mother Eric has it written on her mirror.
It's really funny because I heard one of the characters who is a kid says that in the movie, and I laughed out loud. I was like, no way you said that when people are getting slaughtered around you.
The kid's got it. The kid's got it covered. Don't even worry about it. He's
Yeah,
fine.
no worries, no worries.
Take him out.
So, with this New Year's episode, we talked about it a little bit beforehand, and we're feeling like today's a good time to bring up romance in your D&D games, right? Now, we have delved into this just a little bit in our own personal group. Drew, if you want to just kind of talk about the situation where we have dealt with it, because I don't think we've dealt with it much outside of that.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot to it, I don't think, at our table, which is why I'm kind of interested to talk about it and see where else it could go, maybe, or our limitations of the table, right? So in our last campaign would be campaign 2, Descent into Avernus, which continued into further campaign. At one point, the party wizard Pyth, my character, had come across a Hell Rider. If you're familiar with the Descent into Avernus module, won't go into any spoilers or anything like that. And her name was Rhea. So they met up, and at first glance, it was kind of like they were foes. They were kind of standoffish, and over time, the relationship kind of blossomed into something. And it was interesting to kind of see it go along. I don't remember the moment that it was like, yeah, we're together. It was just she was kind of always there, and over time, we got friendlier and friendlier until we were kind of a thing. And eventually, in the long run, ended up getting married. And now Rhea is a cameo and sort of part of our party, right, in the future campaigns that we've encountered. I would love to say, this is distinctly what we did, and Seth had planned this exact thing to force this, like, love triangle or something, but it wasn't anything like that. It sort of just happened. And I'm thinking maybe at a lot of other tables, it's more natural like that. Like, I don't know if it feels forced sometimes, or people, try to push it at the table to make it work. But for us at our table, it just kind of happens organically.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had none of that planned whatsoever. I think just a couple little offhand jokes or like signs were made, and then it just developed into that at some point where we were like, I guess this is a thing. We didn't even talk about it before it happened. It just happened, and these two characters just hit it off really well and became a thing. And one kind of emulates the real way that a relationship normally comes up in real life, where you're not like forcing it. It just kind of happens organically. But I would like to say, against what you said, I don't think most tables handle this in this way, because I feel like if you're not really close friends, like we know each other very well, right? It's never going to be weird for us to bring these things up at the table because we're used to one another. But if you are at a table where either people are inexperienced, or this is like the only place they know each other, they only know each other at the D&D table, or your DM just might not be able to get into the headspace of a character in that way. or they might find it weird. I think it normally has to be something that you talk about before the game starts, and a lot of DMs will end up writing in these kinds of things as opposed to the players and NPCs or players themselves come across it organically.
I wonder if that makes it inherently better that it's organic and it kind of happens. I would think so, just because if the players are kind of running the show and then they're generating their own story, I mean, that's huge. But in the same boat, I don't think we've ever had a DM or played for anybody else. And maybe you have. You've played for some other people that I haven't, where they've created a story where you're intended to fall in love with somebody or you're intended to have some sort of relationship. I bet that would be really cool, but I can't say we've experienced it here.
No, I haven't either. Where there was one time in Lanky Eric's campaign where there was a character that my character like kind of had a thing going for, and I told the DM that I was like, "Hey, the way this character portrays themselves really matches the way my character like would feel attracted to that person." He was just like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, sounds good." And then the campaign didn't go long enough for it to actually become a thing. But I think when it comes to games like this, it doesn't have. It can and will become awkward if there's not like an understanding between the players, and I think that's where it becomes dangerous because romance can be dangerous in games, and a lot of people think that there has to be some of this stuff for it to be a like organic and cool story because of things like Critical Role where they always have it involved. You know what I mean? Like it's always involved in some way where like two player characters fall in love over the course of a campaign, and it's always there for their groups. So yeah, I think that makes it a little bit weirder where a lot of the top campaigns that are in like live plays always involve these things, so it is a theme that D&D almost has adopted as like necessary at the table.
Mm-hmm. And I see why, right? It's not like it's, oh, this is so weird and taboo. What you're doing is you're telling a story, which is essentially a movie, right? Every story, movie, any sort of tale, there's a plot to it. There's devices, there's drama, there's horror, there's action, right? And romance is very much so one of them. So I guess it's in some ways kind of surprising that you don't see more romance in, I guess, the smaller scale games, like the mom and pop games, I'm going to call them, I guess. But in Critical Role, bringing up Critical Role, I hadn't even thought about this. I was up to date with them up until, oh God, maybe a year ago. I got about halfway through campaign 3 and I kind of fell off. So I'm aware of the romance in 1 and 2. And I'll say I actually kind of got sick of it. Strangely, I like the romance. I like all the elements of the story. I'm a storyteller by trade. I get it, but it was almost expected at that point. It's like, oh, well, of course they're gonna hook up. I could tell. Like they're already putting off these vibes, or they were together last campaign, so they're gonna have a fling, of course, right? It just becomes kind of predictable and I don't know, kind of tacky, I guess. But maybe that's where I was coming from and saying it should be more organic. I don't know. Maybe it's.
I definitely felt that way. I definitely felt that way in campaign 3 because I also got about halfway through it before I life took over. I couldn't really keep up. So I also kind of felt that way in campaign 3 because right from the get-go, it felt like you knew which characters were made to be matched up almost. And so it was like, oh, okay, well, it seems like Imogen and Laudna have some vibes going on right here. And it's becoming apparent that they've got something like going on there, and it feels like that like a lot of the ways with people shipping the characters and stuff. And now this is again the biggest D&D show on the internet. It's kind of expected that you have these kinds of things because it keeps the fan bases engaged. And I just don't want that expectation to be on everybody's table because you can go 8 years with only a single romance popping up the entire time, and frankly. That largely is in place because all of us are straight dudes at the table. And it's not often that we have just tons of female player characters around until, I assign an NPC to the group that's there. So for what it's worth, it's just, that it doesn't always come up like that. This one came up organically because an NPC was with the party for a long period of time.
I remember a small example of kind of, I guess, diving into this at a very basic level. So in our campaign 1 in Storm Kings, I was playing Eknon Greylock, a Tiefling Inquisitor Rogue, And I guess there was at some point where I don't know if it was like a hookup at a tavern or something. There was some girl I had met that I guess I had been sweet on, and I was a charismatic rogue at the time, so it didn't, it didn't sound untrue, right? And at some point in the future, many, many sessions passed, I think we were actually at I want to say it was the Golden Goose. It was the casino ship of sort. And you had mentioned there, it was a party, and so we were trying to blend in, and so I was trying to talk to some of the ladies there and whatnot. And I had started talking to one of the girls, and Patrick had spoken up ahead and said, what about your previous partner, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't even remember. I was like, oh yeah, I guess that did happen. But like, we're not having a romance. It's like, this isn't my partner. There was, I think, zero expectation of romance or relationships in the game at that time. Now, this was our first campaign, but I guess looking back, that was sort of my first, like, oh yeah, I guess you could do that in this game. That's something you might do, I suppose, on top of fighting monsters.
Yeah,
but
for real.
Back to that sometimes.
I have not thought about that in years. So the fact that you brought it up and remember it, I'm like, oh gosh, I guess I did have that in the game at the time. Good
job, Seth. You really slid it in there.
I didn't even remember. That I did it. I think those things, they come up when they come up, right? And so, that was one of those moments where on the fly, something happened. I narrated it and then just went on, kept moving on with the game.
Yeah. And I guess it was memorable enough. I remember the Golden Goose. The Golden Goose was super sick. If anyone who hasn't been there, I'm not sure if it's real or not.
So
pretty cool little like trading ship in one of the modules.
Golden Goose actually came from I don't know which website I used. I think it was like DM's Guild or something. It was a DM's Guild. Like I think I gave the person who wrote it $1 or $2 and got it downloaded and used it all through there. And it was a really cool like casino style mission that I was able to send you guys on. I had that. And then there was the Felgalos, the Flying Misfortune. That was it. That one was a really good add-on. If you're running Forgotten Realms or anywhere, honestly, throw Felgalos into your campaign. He's like the best NPC.
He's a pretty good one. I guess past that, I mean, what other romance we really had? So it was Pyth and Rhea, right? There's a little bit of Eknon kind of flavor in there, somewhat, from campaign 1. I wouldn't say it's nearly on the level.
Yeah, I feel like the other characters haven't really gone to that level with many people. I mean, there might have been some times with one of Chase's characters or Zach's who brought that up with another person. I think maybe Zach's sorcerer paladin that he was at one point, like, knew a girl back in his hometown. But other than that, there hasn't been anything we've really delved into to the point where, like, with the impact that Pyth and Rhea had. And with those two, we had one of our most impactful sessions. It was the penultimate session of the campaign, right? Where you were like, I have to go back, and before I possibly die here fighting the Lord of the Nine Hells, I have to marry this woman, right? And so we took Pyth back, you teleported back to the material plane, you guys got married, and then you went back to hell to finish the job.
It was so cool. I threw a fireball. What was it? I transmuted the fireball bottles that I threw up into like different colors. So we made some fireworks, and I think I took the ceremony spell through a gift from one of the angel gods or something. Oh god, I can't remember, so long ago. But I took the spell literally to be married and then didn't use it because someone else had it. But that was awesome. I think back of that session as sort of a pinnacle in like my character kind of arcs, right? I had a lot of fun with it. And of course, it's always nice to have some intimate romance with your DM at the table. Me and Seth got to kiss a little bit. We practiced ahead of time. Yep, it was fantastic.
We already knew since we lived together for so long. Like, yeah, we had gotten a lot of practice over the years.
A couple campaigns worth, no big deal.
So, given that this is the New Year's episode, I kind of wanted to go over some little 2026 resolutions, wish list option things for the coming year. Right? And I'll kick us off while I give you some time to think. But my number one thing is campaign 3 starts, right? Our third campaign. And in the planning section, I'm already pre-planning that you are not the main character. Because we had Pyth the whole party was very good in campaign 2, but Pyth ended up becoming a central gear piece as the rest of the party was along with him for the ride. And then Eknon in the first one, I don't think he was the main character in Storm King's Thunder, but I do think that overall, he ended up being the most like recurring character was Eknal would pop up. And so I was like, okay, so Drew is not going to be the main character. He's going to get like plenty of story beats, but I need like a person to centralize some things around. And you know what I really want? I want to force Chase to be the main character.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you said it. I'm so glad.
I want to force him. Not force, okay? I'm going to see what kind of character he wants to make and if it fits for that role. But I almost just really want him in the lead seat as like the person I can base story stuff around.
My character, I will build my character around being Chase's wingman if you do this.
Oh yeah.
Just give me a heads up. I got you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I want to see what he could do with it.
That's there on the wish list, and I think after the session today, we probably won't have a lot of time tonight. We might, but I really want to plan with a bunch of people. Like, hey, give me your character ideas. Give me whatever you got, because Campaign 3 is happening, a few months from now, which is going to be so exciting.
Yeah, and I've already given you a little bit of feedback, so I'm excited to go with it. I would say that's probably on my list is survive Campaign 3 next year. I guess that's it's one of the goals there.
Yeah.
For me in 2026, which that's the year we're going into, I had to think about it. I would like to, I think, run some more sessions. I know we have talked privately about me running something in the future, but whether or not I do that, at the very least, next year, I would like to run double the amount of sessions at a minimum, which is like, 6 total.
Yeah.
So huge goal, right?
But I would love to see you take that space, take over some one-offs and stuff, especially because we'll get through Patrick's little campaign here. We'll get through whatever Sean wants to run. Because before Campaign 3, guys, this is the kinds of conversations you need to be having at your table if you have multiple DMs, because you don't want anybody to feel left out, right? Especially when everybody's got stuff they want, like stories they want to tell. So before we get to Campaign 3, which is going to take years for us to go through, the most important thing is I want them to get their stories out of the way. So we're going to go through whatever Pat has prepared. We're going to go through whatever Sean has prepared. And then I think that's a good point for you to have some one-offs and stuff ready. So that way on off weeks for Campaign 3, we can be like, oh, well, Chase can't play this week. So Drew, what have you got prepared for us?
Exactly. I'm hoping to take that spot. I don't know if I'm going to be like the one-off guy, but maybe that's the next step for me in becoming a good DM again. It's been a while. But no, I think that's peak 2026 resolution for me. That and surviving Campaign 3. But.
Yeah, I think I would also like to just take some risks when it comes to games, like when it comes to sessions and stuff. Like take some risks in terms of running my games, which a game mechanic I'm gonna come up with. Oh, is it too late? No, I'll tell you now because it's a good topic for the podcast. This is a good place to bring up a game mechanic, and it's going to get revealed after the session today. This won't tell you anything story-wise, though. But there's going to be a thing that's going to go down. And one thing I really want to try for you guys as a group is, whenever the Planescape books came out, they had this whole idea of, like, characters that... You had to have like multiple character sheets at different levels, right? And that was because in Planescape, whenever you would go on a certain mission, your body or whatever is having like weird echoey reactions, and you would, if your character would like die or get killed or whatever, you would swap out with one of your echoes. So, something that I'm going to be having you guys do after we finally resolve everything, and I'll reveal it to the boys tonight, so don't say anything, is... after you guys finally resolve all of this stuff, I'm going to have you make alternate level 6 characters of your characters. Because there's going to be a big event, and you guys are going to have your characters, and you're going to have an echo of your character, and you're going to be the same character, but with different powers, and it's going to swap based on your roles.
Okay, that's confusing but exciting. So let's say I made like my echo of Gordo in our Spelljammer. So I could be like highly charismatic sorcerer as like an echo of Gordo?
If you want.
Interesting.
It'll be kind of your own thing. So I want you, story-wise, I want you to choose your Forgotten Realms echo. So like if this character existed in the Forgotten Realms, you tell me who they would be and what they would be. So like the Sword Coast version or something.
Okay, so we got, what is it? We have a regular Raichu, and we have an Alolan Raichu.
Exactly.
popping in.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm into that. That's now. Or is this something we're going to be doing in campaign 3? Something you want to like?
No. This is only for the second Lego Spelljammer. So campaign 3 is going to be regular vanilla D&D, right? So we're playing through all of this, and then for the second Lego Spelljammer, obviously you guys are dealing with a bunch of multiversal type shit, right? There's a giant spell that's about to be cast, and you guys are going to be right there when said spell is cast. This is going to be kind of like repercussions along with what goes with that in order to tell more of a story.
Okay, I'm in it. Oh, and are we going to be able to do, as far as 2026 resolutions, are we going to have the other players at the table also come forward with their one-offs?
Oh, of course.
Okay, very cool. Now, I don't know if we had talked about it. I think we talked about it in the podcast at some point, but because of this large-scale event that is happening in our Spelljammer campaign, we are going to have each one of the DMs at our table, which I think everybody at our table now has DM'd.
Yep.
Is all going to run a one-off to reflect on how this event affects the rest of the world. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're because it's, D&D is collaborative storytelling. I don't want to be the only one, the only puppet master at the table. So I told everybody, hey, there's a big scale event that's happening in our campaign right now, a big magical affecting thing. And I want all of you to have little one-offs prepared to show the repercussions of what happens or like how this affects our world at large. And so far we've done 2 of them. We did, Chase had a time loop event that happened because thanks to the spell, and then you had like a literal wormholes opening on the planet that needed to be closed up.
I mean, why wouldn't there be worms and wormholes? I mean, why else would they call them that? It just makes sense to me.
It was very good. I was a huge fan of what you did there because I think you always do a good job of taking something that we all think we understand and then twisting it a little bit. So like with your Christmas one-off, the Silent Night, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't the knight be silent? He's a knight.
And the Silent Night and the Holy Night. We fought them. So stuff like that is taking things that we think we already understand and then twisting them a little bit. So Drew had like basically lower level giant purple worms that we were fighting who came out of a wormhole. And we had to fight them off and then close said wormhole.
And it worked. You guys were able. I did not expect you guys to be getting that close, though. They had worn you pretty thin, and I'm kind of excited to see how the Christmas one-off goes next week. Because I've never dealt with balancing that well. I don't think I've ever had an encounter that had come that close with you guys being such power players, and so I think I'm getting like a better understanding. I'm learning.
We
I'm
also all rolled like dog shit.
Yeah, poor Sean, man. I think he rolled like 6 misses in a row or so. Like he just was not.
Well, no, I meant like stats wise. We were all just like, normally we end up being like superhero type characters. This time we were all regular Joes.
And you guys had told me ahead of time, right? I had seen the chat start coming through, going, "Oh yeah, I rolled poop. Oh man, my stats are garbage." I started like sweating because I don't want to pull my punches. Every time I pull my punches, I get steamrolled, and that's not fun for anybody. So, I mean, sometimes it is, but I was like, I'm not pulling any punches. I'm going to keep going as is. And I did. And it worked out. You guys came out heroes at the end.
Yeah, it was great.
Maybe we'll see some more of that in 2026. I don't know.
It would be cool. I think that is a good goal to have, is to be better at balancing, especially for like, I usually think I balance my stuff pretty well because of the nature of a campaign, whether it's like, oh, this one's supposed to be easy, this one's supposed to be difficult. I mean, getting right there on that line, especially like recently. We had an encounter that we went into where I had an actual adult dragon going against your level 5 characters, and it worked great, I feel like. So
surprisingly, but it did.
Yeah, it ended up working out in that moment because I gave so many tools to deal with it. So I'm very happy that it went the way that it did. But I think for the rest of the DMs at the table, I'd like to give some space for them to run more stuff where they can really flex there or kind of get used to balancing for our table so far, because a lot of us haven't had enough experience with it and we end up like making it too easy whenever the difficulty does need to be there for it to be like super fun. And it's hilarious when we walk into a one-off and someone hasn't DM'd in a bit and we just one round them and we're like, oh, sorry about that, dude. But I am also of the mind that if we go to do that, it's okay to just say, he actually had double the hit points.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I would be totally okay with that. It's crazy that it hasn't happened. Like, every time, I think, when we steamrolled Patrick once, and he just let it happen. It was, I think, 3 people got to move in initiative before we killed the boss.
Oh,
And
no.
the boss got to move, and then 2 of us went in and just went wild on him, and he was down. And he was like, yeah, that's it. And I thought in my head, well, at least let it be like a whole round or something.
I feel like, so that in general, and maybe that's what 2026 is just learning from our mistakes and over time. I feel like in general, I admire the fact that he kept it. And it's like, yeah, well, you won. That was it. Because I think there's a certain level of respect for, I mean, that's exactly what I had planned to do. And on the other hand, it's like, well, are there things you could have done that would have extended? Oh, I forgot to use my legendary action. It's going to start going off now, think of something on the fly.
Admittedly,
right?
I have done that before. I've been like,
sometimes you need to, right? It's like, well, it's not lying, right? You're not cheating your players. You're introducing a new mechanic to make sure that the fight is still fun and does not just flop like that.
yeah, I fully agree. Where it is fully okay in my mind, especially if you play it off well. Like, I'm used to improvising so much in the moment that those moments I feel like just come off as me just DMing like normal, where I'm like, yeah, no, okay, I'm gonna use my legendary action now. Just don't even acknowledge. Like, okay, that was a little rough. Let me add in a legendary action here. Just don't even say it. Just go straight into, hey, I'm gonna use my legendary action now. And they're like, oh my god, he has legendary reactions.
Well, he does now.
Yeah, now he does.
In 2026, as I'm running games, I think just a small, not even a goal, but something I'd like to try out is just generally more mechanics as a whole. One of them being lair actions. I think lair actions are really, really slept on, and they're sort of just like legendary actions, weird step cousin that no one talks about. I'd like to see some extra abilities and mechanics that come into play that are beyond just the regular breath weapon, get your 2 attacks, multi-attack kind of stuff.
I got a thing for you that I'm also going to do tonight. It's going to be pretty cool. We're going to get into this big combat that's going on, right? And it's going to be pretty difficult. Like, I expect people to go down and people to have to be being gotten up and etc. the entire time. So, as one of the things that I'm doing for both the enemies and for the allies, whenever you cast a spell, you're also going to roll a d20. Because you have a 5% chance to crit on any spell.
Whoa.
So,
okay.
If there's something, like, say you're going to roll damage for a fireball, you're also going to roll a d20, and there's a chance that you get max plus roll.
So what made you think of this? This is pretty groundbreaking.
I was typing, and I was like, oh, what would be a cool thing that happens while this gigantic spell's about to go off? And I was like, what if just all of the magic in this area is like fully amplified because of this like plane bending spell that's going off? And so I was like, yeah, no, there's going to be so much magic rolling through this area that like there's a chance that it just fucking goes nuclear.
I love that. That's super cool.
So
I wonder how it would work like long term for balancing, but for this encounter, it's gonna be so cool.
Balancing, I think you would one shot too many things. But given that you already know there's going to be an adult dragon and a very strong prince involved, where I'm like, no, I need to make sure that there's a chance that the party can wipe out some like ads or something very easily.
So as a Path of the Giant Barbarian, I do have the cantrip Druidcraft.
Ooh, okay.
And I would say it's pretty strong, generally. So if I roll a, let's say a 5, when making that percentage roll, do you think maybe I could grow 2 flowers instead of 1?
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Oh,
yeah, that's
See,
fine with me.
I'm so OP. That's OP. Drew, don't even think. You should ban that spell, honestly. It's too strong.
Someone who I think every time he's cast a spell at my table has always ended up just changing the tides of battle, and that would be good old gamer. Every time that he's played at the table, he goes to cast a spell, and the enemies all just keel over. He casts sleep. The entire city falls asleep. Not a single issue with any of his spells. Yeah. It's always a critical hit, no matter what. Because good old gamer is on patreon.com/tabletalkfriday, baby. He listens to the post shows every single week. So if you want to be like him and always get a critical hit on your spells, head on over to patreon.com/Table Talk Friday.
I'll type up a little disclaimer saying that you won't actually get crits on all of your rolls, just in case. I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, I want you to roll a d4, and if you get a 1 through a 4, you do crit this spell.
Oh, got a 3. We're good to go.
Oh, yeah. So, I actually think that we've done a good job. You know, it's the holiday season. This episode's a little bit shorter than a lot of our others, but I think we should roll into the post show here because we have a busy night, busy day ahead of us. So, guys, heading over to patreon.com/Table Talk Friday if you enjoyed listening to the show today. But for now, I need the critical hit Spellmeister to take me out.
It's me, the critical hit, Gritmeister. Just saying, I'm about to come at you with a natural 20. Well, bam! That's 20 points of damage, double 40. You're out. Knocked out cold, 0 hit points. Done. Down for the count. Let's go.